I really like this film.
Oh, good.
And I shouldn't say I'm surprised in it. You know, I think audiences in general, not just film critics, understand first films. And yet, it's so nice to see a first film that has some kind of substance to it. Do you feel like you're in something that's a little bit different than the norm?
Well, you hope that everything you do is a little bit different than just the normal thing. And I know that Edward was really going for something very specific, which was more than just a romantic comedy. I think, the religious issues and the actual kind of depth that he wanted to have in the film, in addition to the comedy, was something that he was really striving for. So he had a very clear idea of what he wanted.
Real issues of real faith are usually skirted in films. They're not treated like real people. I just know growing up around church or being around church was like shooting hoops and funny and dirty once in a while and goofy, and issues of even dealing with faith and sex are rare in movies, and yet all of those are pretty much addressed in this film.
Yeah. I mean, it's not easy to go for all that, I think, especially when you're trying to make a film that's kind of entertaining and just fun and enjoyable and kind of, just an entertainment in addition to being able to have some ideas in there that are, it's very easy to say, okay, I'm going to make a very serious film that's like kind of, going to deal with these things, but to actually have people enjoy it and be able to have a message behind it is, I think he did a great job of balancing that.
And I think for a lot of people that either hang out in Protestant churches and never hang out in synagogue, it opens up a lot for them.
Yeah, you get to see both sides.
I'd never realized how informal sometimes that is. Is that true?
What, the synagogue situation?
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you. Last time I went to synagogue regularly was for my bar mitzvah training lessons when I was 13. So the film was a good, it was a good reason for me to kind of get back in touch with my roots.
Feel a little uncomfortable at first?
Very uncomfortable, actually, because, it's one thing to say, okay, I'm going to play a cleric, and then to actually have that, be standing up in front of a crowd of people and to have to pretend that you know what you're talking about, or that you would actually even in any way, shape, or form be allowed to do that in real life, which there's no chance I'd ever get near that in real life. So it was kind of challenging, but it was fun. It was fun.
Did you have a big blowout for your bar mitzvah?
I had a very, I grew up in New York, Upper West Side, and it was a very low-key bar mitzvah compared to what some people do. It was all kind of, everything happened at the synagogue. So the service happened, and then downstairs in the basement we had the reception. While some kids would have like the Tavern on the Green, and or go to the Wailing Wall, or just the whole thing. My parents were just you're gonna have the straight ahead. They do it all right there, and then I had a band when I was in 8th grade that played at the bar mitzvah.
So you played at your own?
Yeah, we were the entertainment.
Do you remember some of the big songs you played?
Let It Be by the Beatles. I was on drums.
You did the long version.
Yeah, the long and slightly off-key version that you don't hear that often. What else do we? Some big Who hits, which went over great with the grandparents.
We won't get fooled again.
Yeah, right. And the grandparents were just like, "What's?"
Is that funny?
And they probably Who fans probably were like this because it didn't sound anything like we were horrible. We were a bad group. We just couldn't play well.
Isn't that fun?
Yeah,
Those are fun memories.
It was an interesting, long time ago.
Did you have, it's a little more loaded question, but did you have any, when you start to work on a career, and I'm going back a few years, as you start to plot, to act and direct and produce and do all the different hats that you wear, did you have any idea that the career path you would take would be the one that you're on? Is it different than you imagined?
I don't think you can ever really plan it out the way, I don't think it ever happens the way you plan it out, and not that everybody has a plan. I thought I always wanted to be a director. I knew that since I was about 12 or 13. I loved making movies. And I also wanted to be an actor, and I think I wasn't sure how it was all going to happen. And I think even to this day, you're just kind of surprised at the twists and turns and what people respond to and the opportunities that you get offered. It's been an interesting few years for me because I've done a lot more acting than I thought I would end up doing. Really?
I wrote a play in college once that was produced, and then I ended up directing it. And I remember that being one of the most terrifying. That acting wasn't terrifying. It was the creation of stuff that I was more responsible for.
Right.
and yet more fulfilling, ultimately.
Yeah, it is ultimately more fulfilling, I think, just because it's your piece. It's your, and you have the responsibility from the beginning to the end. And as an actor, you come in and you're really only in kind of one part of the whole filmmaking process. You're there for the shooting, but the director's there for months and months before, prepping it, calling in the fire engines, making sure that they're available.
God, is New York great?
It's wonderful.
Talking about keeping the faith with fire engines.
Exactly. And then there's the whole editing and putting the movie together, which is really the most satisfying part of the whole experience for me. So you miss out on that as an actor. And also as an actor, you never get the feeling of the whole film, really, until you see it, because you're shooting it out of order and you're just doing little pieces every day. So
I want to ask you one question about acting. If you took away any sense of income or publicity or notoriety about what you're doing, it just gets down to the moment of doing it. What do you really love about acting?
I wouldn't be doing it if there wasn't any income, notoriety, publicity.
Dang straight.
What was the question again? No, what would I...
If you didn't make a dime.
Yeah.
I guess I'm asking what fills. I guess I'm asking what fills up your cup a little bit on acting.
You know what? It's just, it's very hard to explain the experience of. I think acting with a good actor is a really fun thing to do. To be in a scene, it's fun. Acting is fun when it's. I think when you're in it and it's happening the right way. It's it's making believe, but it's also trying to find the truth in a made-up situation, which is a really exciting thing to do, especially, and to work with great actors is it's exciting. So.
Nice to see you.
All right.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this film.
Thanks.